Hey, it's Camila Stevenson, and around here we talk wealth, and we got a lot to talk about today. I'm going to bust another myth that can help you to add some conviction through education and understanding the design of XRP and Ripple. And I'm going to address a question that has gotten a lot of people very, very angry. And I honestly get how this question is coming about and the logic behind it. But I do want to give you some information so that it can bust a little bit of the misunderstanding behind it. What's up, Sandy? So I'm going to talk about it and I'll explain what the question is and why people are upset about it because it may come up again or you may have seen it. And I just want to bring clarification. After this, I'm going to go on with my members and I am going to have a deeper discussion about money in general, because what I have found out is that a lot of people don't know what money is. They don't know how it works. They have no clue. And if you don't have a clue, you're going to continue to, I don't mean to get political about this, but you're going to continue to not know who to put in office. I literally just got done with, like the video on the way in. Unbelievable. I just got finished looking at some, I don't know, some situation where they want to in New York, and I feel bad for you if you live in New York and you plan on getting wealthy because you're going to have a wealth destroyer with what's happening right there. Wasn't Ripple and XRP the same thing at one point? No, they've never been the same thing. It's a Ripple is a company and now they're a bank, and XRP is a utility coin. So it would be like saying, isn't Ripple and gold the same thing? So I'll explain it, but I had to go to Gemini for a minute, y'all. Let me say this. I had to yeah, like somebody said my face looks healed a little bit. You can, the camera that I have, it's like at the angle that it's almost gone. It kind of scarred and started to peel off a little bit, so it's really not there anymore. So hey, I'm healing just well with my scratch, because you know it's always something having scratches all on your face. um I had to go to Gemini about something. And this is important because this is exactly why we need to understand money. Okay. So somebody said, yeah, I thought Chicago was bad. And Chicago is bad, but my goodness, let me help y'all to understand. Smash that like button for me. Let me help y'all to understand, just so you can understand. Like I keep telling people, all of this is fun and games until you become wealthy. This whole thing of, taking all of these taxes and stuff from wealthy people, I get it. I understand that the more you have, the more generous you should be. And I believe that. I mean, I don't understand why somebody wouldn't be extra generous. But I don't like the fact that the government can tell you how much you know what I mean, how much you have to give. Basically, I don't like when the government come along and say, well, since you got a lot of money, you can just give all your money away. And what is a lot of money? So let me explain to you this proposal that's taking place, and then we're gonna get into it. But it's just something that I just started looking at, and I had to go to Gemini. Like, is this true? How is this possible? Like, they their mayor wants to take 50% death tax. That means that if you pass with your wealth, the state, not the federal, not at the federal level. So get this, the state is trying to go from 16% to 50%. And they're trying to lower that threshold from 7 million, because they used to start around what, 7.1 million or somewhere, give or take. And they're trying to push it down to 750,000. That means that, hit that like button coming in. That means if you make $750,000, over $750,000, and you die and you leave that to your kids, let's say 800,000 for clean. So first of all, the state wants to take half of that right away, because I had to figure out, do the state takes, because I'm still here. I haven't passed away, but I don't know if I ever looked this up, which one gets taken first, the state or the federal taxes. So federal taxes, we know, is around 40%. So I'm like, so wait, what happens? Like the state take 50%. So you mean it gets chopped right away from 800,000 to 400,000 that you're supposed to leave your kids? And then after that, now here come the federal government taking 40%. I'm like, well, what are you left with? And basically, when I was doing the math with Gemini said you're left with under 30% somewhere. I'm like, what in the world? Nobody's going to stay there for that. You know what? And I was going to say this. I was going to tell you guys, in order to preserve wealth, some people are just going to have to move. There is no way I would be living there if that were the case. You mean to tell me if I leave $50 million to my children, let's take it up a notch. Like, you're going to take 25 million off the top before the federal government even get anywhere. And then they're going to come in and take another 40%. Are y'all crazy? Are y'all crazy? This is communism. I don't believe in communism, by the way. I'm going to just be honest and tell y'all that. So I'm sorry if you don't, if you know what I'm saying, but I do believe in generosity. I believe that if you are blessed, that you should give beyond measure. I think sometimes wealthy people would give even more if they didn't have these crazy stipulations like that. You know what I mean? Because where I'm from, I look at wealthy people donating to schools and creating my one of the schools that my son was going to go to. They had donated like one person had donated like $4 million to an entire wing of like science. Like, it was a big dome. You could look up in the sky and it's like a 3D. It's like you're in some kind of like environment where you can see the stars and stuff. I mean, it was so cool. He didn't pick that school to go to, but there's a lot of people who want to give. But if you're getting taxed like that, you restrict it. And then we got to find out what y'all doing with this money, right? Man, let me tell you, I'm sorry. I just had to explain that because I don't think people are keeping up with this type of stuff. And this is exactly why you got to structure your stuff in such a way. This is why wealthy people are taking their stuff offshores, putting them in irrevocable trust. Heck no, I am not going to leave that much money to the government to rob. That's robbery, if you ask me. Anyway, I feel sorry for you if you live in New York. I truly do. I'll be praying for you, New Yorkers. But I can guarantee you there's no wealthy person that will stay there for that. I can guarantee you that they're going to lose. They're going to lose taxes, actually. And the middle class are going to wind up paying for that, and the poor, because no wealthy person is going to stick around for that. So when you lose them, you lose their money, you lose their business, you lose everything. Okay. All right. Sorry, I had to go into that because it's a real thing. I do want to talk about this ripple effect. Please go ahead. Yes, Kevin, can you let them know, please? Go ahead and research, do your own, because it's not even about like, again, it's all fun and games until it's your money. Now, somebody who ain't making nothing, who gonna die with $5 in their pocket, absolutely, they don't care about stuff like that. But if you're working and your hard-earned money should not just be blown away like that. We have got to start educating ourselves on how to preserve our wealth for our children and our children's children, because if we're going to leave generational freedom to the next generation, we got to study how to do this, and we got to be able to figure out how to work around that. Okay. And part of that is going to be figuring out where you're going to live, because you're not going to, unless you plan on giving away over 70% of your estate, starting at 700. He's trying to bring, it used to be over 7 million there. He's trying to bring it down to 750,000. So 750,000, that's not even a lot of money to leave. And then they about to chop it up. Let me see, what's 30% of that? Less than 30% you wind up with. All your little hard-earned money. Lord have mercy. 225 million. They done robbed you clean dirty. Ridiculous. All right. Let me go ahead. I had to say that because I don't think a lot of people understand how this works. And that was just the headline news. And I do like to keep up with current events, but I do want to deal with something. I'll look at the chats in a minute because I do want to address something very important. And then I am going to go with my members, and I'm going to talk about money. Most people don't know what money is. If I was to ask you what's the definition of money, I promise you probably wouldn't know it. Most people wouldn't. What's up from Brooklyn? I'm praying for you guys. 50% is the state tax in New York. That's it. The state tax. We ain't got to the federal tax. The state tax comes first. So you're going to chop that in half before you even close the second eye. Before you close your second eye in the grave, they're going to be taking 50%. They about to tax people for breathing. Whew. I just paid a fee. They about to tax you for breathing. All right, let me say that. Let me get to the super chat real quick. Thank you so much. I saw XRP and other coins went up a lot. Is it temporary or will it continue trending it's all an accumulation zone. This isn't verifying anything at this point. I appreciate this. Like I said, um, the super chat. I'm not buying it right now. It could be a back trace for a lower low, but you don't know. You know what I'm saying? You don't know. We're still in accumulation zone. We're still moving sideways, pretty much. So I just kind of buy. If you don't have a big bag, I think you should be participating. And then right, breathing tax, then tokenized to the blockchain too. um I think you should be participating as much as you can. Never try to time the top, never try to time the bottom. DCA, have your bigger orders for, your limit order set for bigger orders, but still participate. That's what I'm doing. I have limit orders set for 120, like 111. That was the low. The last time that would be a double bottom somewhere around 111 to 115, somewhere around there. Um, but I like to have orders on the way there. So I have a large order at $1.20, $1.11, $1.01. I have some around 90 cents. And then down to, I think my lowest level is at around 50 or maybe 60 cents, somewhere around there. All right. But I still participate. I'm buying like every day, honestly. All right. What's my definition of a big bag? I mean, if you don't have at least 1,000 to 3,000 XRP, you should be buying. You should be buying right now. Oh, let me just say this: nothing I say is financial advice. Everything I say is for educational purposes only. When I say you should be buying, what I'm really saying is that's what I would do if I were you. Don't take any of my suggestions as your green light to go and invest, because investment comes with risk and you can lose everything you have. So do your own due diligence. Your decisions are only yours. Okay. They don't belong to me. So please don't blame me for anything. Thank you. I appreciate this. Do you recommend for staking XRP to maximize yield? Well, you can't stake XRP at the moment, but no, I wouldn't. To me personally, I do have some XRP wrapped in Flare that is getting yield, but it's really for research purposes. I'm not doing it to really get yield. I'm really doing it to gather research around it. And so what I'm doing to participate in yield is for research. It's not to really benefit at this point. I don't think anybody should be staking or trying to, well, you can't stake XRP, but I don't think you should be participating in yield, because you lose your control of it when you do that. And it's still tied to Bitcoin, and it's very speculative. So, and it's very manipulated, as a matter of fact. And I'll explain that so you guys can know. I promise you, at the end of this, you're going to understand XRP a lot better, and you're going to understand what Ripple is doing every time they what people call dump their XRP. They're really not dumping it. But it is not yet structured. It's not in a phase of stability. So I think that people are over leveraged, and they're going to lose out if the market drops, if Bitcoin drops, because it's still speculative. It's still moving like a speculative asset, and it's not structured yet. And so I wouldn't be giving my XRP over to any type of yield or anything, or any rewards or anything like that at this moment, because it's not structured yet. And I think people who are over leveraged at this point are going to they're going to lose their XRP. You're not going to win being over leveraged. I appreciate that. Let me go ahead and I'll get back into some more of the chats, but I want to deal with a question that's been spreading through XRP community right now. And it is creating a lot of anger, because I look at the comments and I'm seeing it. And this is what somebody said in the comments. I specifically saw a particular comment, and it's on different people's pages. I get it myself, and it's just they say stuff on other people's pages as well. But they're like saying, basically, how's the price going to ever increase when big institutions can purchase over the counter in large volume without affecting the price, right? And so when the what they were saying was, when the price increases, that they have large stocks to flood the market and to manipulate the market, I believe is what precisely they said. And so a lot of people are wondering, like when they dump it and they're selling it to over the counter, it's messing with the price, and they're upset at Ripple for doing that. And I want to really go through that because what they feel like is that XRP will never go up if they're able to do that. And that question, I don't think it's coming from a bad place for some people. For others, it is, because they just want to FUD XRP and just, but I think it's coming from someone who genuinely doesn't understand what they're seeing. And that's why I want to bring understanding. And I promise you, there are thousands of people probably in this community right now that's thinking the exact same thing. So I want to go over that, with facts so that you can verify yourself. All right. Let me know just real quick. Have you ever heard someone say that Ripple is dumping XRP? Have you heard that narrative where they're dumping it and people getting upset about it? I'm just curious if you guys, but I'll walk through it. I'm happy you are here, Tiff, to catch the live. And yeah, and we're gonna go through it. Okay, so some people have heard of that. All right, so I'm good. Okay. I want to what's up, Dwayne? Hey, good to see you here. Ripple doesn't sell OTC. Yeah, they do. They do. I'll walk you through it, what they're doing. Okay, you guys have heard that. All right, so let me start off by helping you to understand what's happening when Ripple sells XRP. Okay, and I guarantee you, because the way I do like to present information is a way that you can really grasp it. For those who are knowledgeable about Ripple and XRP, you'll find benefit in solidifying your understanding. And for those who don't understand XRP as much, you will still understand through the way I'll explain it to you, so that when this comes up, you'll get it, and it'll help you with your conviction, because anything that can help your conviction will help you to stay still and patient through the volatility. We are still in the middle of oil prices spiking. Oh, my members, I want to tell you, one of my oil plays is up 40 something percent. I looked at it today and I was like, wow, I didn't even know. But I'm still looking for pullbacks. I know we got, sometimes you got to understand, sometimes the market will go through lower highs and lower lows. So just because you see it go up doesn't necessarily, it's got to break structure. You got to look for structure. Okay. So yes, Ripple does sell XRP, and they have always sold XRP. Okay. And that's how they operate as a company. But who is Ripple selling to is what I want to answer, because that answer is going to change how you understand this. Okay. Now, let me just go ahead with the facts, and you can look this up for yourself. And if you feel like I'm off on something, I am not beyond being wrong. I'm studying every single day. I promise you I am. I'm looking into things. And even with my members, I've been studying a lot on XLM, and I want to release a little bit about that. And I don't think a lot of people understand that's going to be a game changer, and how they can really get in with XLM. It's going to be a huge win. I can tell you that. So he is making great yield there. Yeah, that's fine. I'm just looking at yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people there's a lot of people who are staking their XRP. That's totally fine. They may have enough of it to you got to understand, like if somebody got 100,000 XRP, they may not care about staking 5,000 or 10. They may not care 5-10% of their portfolio. They got enough for long term. But for most people, I wouldn't do it. You are losing control, and it's a little bit, you could wind up losing it if you over leverage. So there's a lot of people staking it. Don't get, yeah, they are. But my personal thoughts is I wouldn't be doing it, especially if you don't have enough of it, to give up control and to lose control. I wouldn't be doing it. Now, let me give you some facts. Since 2019, Ripple, since about 2019, I think every single XRP that Ripple has sold has gone directly to the institutions. Okay, these are private deals. These are off the open market, and these are away from public exchanges entirely. And I'm going to help you to understand the difference, because I think people confuse OTC and the exchanges and stuff. You'll understand. Trust me. Just stick with me for a moment. Okay. Now, so they've been selling it over the counter. Let me explain what that means, because this is where a lot of people are going to get lost with that. When we say institutions buy XRP from Ripple over the counter, and over the counter simply means privately. Again, it's off the public market. It is not on the exchanges. So we're talking about a completely different type of transaction than what most people imagine that we're talking about. When most people go into a transaction, they're going on the exchanges, a Coinbase, a Kraken, to make their purchase for buying and selling. Okay. So think about it this way. Imagine that there is imagine there's a rare art piece that's worth $10 million, which isn't hard to, there's pieces like that, right? If that painting goes into a public auction house, then the price gets discovered in real time by every single person bidding in real time in a public auction. Okay. So the market is going to react to that and it's going to move the price. But if you take that same painting and it gets sold privately behind closed doors in a back room between an artist and a museum, like we just going, me and you, right? Me and the museum, the private person, then that's what you call a direct deal with let's say they had a contract together, okay, that has specific terms on there. We are only dealing behind closed doors. The public never even saw this, right? So if that happens, again, public auction market never sees it. And the price of similar paintings on the open market is completely unaffected. Why? Because that transaction never touched the public market. So it never moved the price, okay? That's exactly what Ripple does when it sells XRP to institutions. They are private deals. They are direct transfers. They have NDAs involved. Remember, I said they have so many NDAs. These are escrow agreements. Okay, so these are terms that are not available to retail investors on public exchanges. So the open market never sees those transactions because they never ever touch the open market. Now I want to give you the math on this. Okay, cool. I'm happy that you're here. Mommy Wolverine, what's going on? It's good to see you. All right, so let me give you the math on this so you can understand further, okay? Because y'all know I like to take you through a process where you can start thinking and understanding. And when people pull these crazy concepts, well, I'm not gonna say they're crazy. It's just the brain just can't imagine the brain can't imagine a blessing. I just think people are gonna search for certain things, right? So let's do the math on this, right? And you can look this up. Ripple has distributed about a little over, give or take, 40 billion XRP to institutions over time. 40 billion. Okay. But the amount of XRP sitting on the public exchanges where the retail trades, where they buy and sell, has rarely ever been more than 4 billion XRP at any given moment. So even, first of all, that should be a warning flag when you say, oh, all of this 40 billion that they've released to the institutions, why are they doing that? It's making the price go down. Well, first of all, the price is not going to go down if it doesn't hit the exchanges. And second of all, on the exchanges, second of all, in connection to what I just said, first of all, about the exchanges has only held a little bit over like 4 billion at any time. So the math ain't mathing. Is it 40 billion that they've given and only 4 billion has been on the exchanges? So those are two totally different things. Okay. The exchange balances represents the XRP that is actively available for trading. I said actively. Okay. Between me, you, maybe, I'm buying and selling or whatever that looks like, but institutional allocations represent XRP that moved directly from private wallets through a structured agreement, basically. So what that tells is that most of XRP that Ripple has distributed, okay, has not immediately entered into the exchange liquidity. It literally moved directly from Ripple's wallet straight to the institutional wallets, okay? So they just move straight over, okay? So that is not that has nothing to do with the exchanges, okay? I just want to clarify that. So that to me does not sound like the narrative that Ripple been dumping this XRP to the open market and making the price go down and all of that. No. Because if tens of billions of XRP were constantly being sold into the exchanges, number one, we would see an exchange balance surge, meaning an increase of XRP on the exchanges, which I just told y'all how many, there's never been more of a certain amount at a time, right? And then also, if all of that is being dumped on the exchange, you're going to see a sustained sell pressure in the market, which means it will plummet, okay? But instead, what you're seeing is we see a distribution pattern where XRP moves into institutional wallets through structured agreements, okay? Which to me suggests something very different. And this is the way I'm looking at it. You can tell me how you're looking at it, and I'll get to the chats. But it suggests to me a strategic distribution into the hands of entities that may be building infrastructure around the network XRP, okay? And so, or I'd say around the network XRP was designed to support, of course, okay? So it looks like a strategic move. Like I'm selling this to the institutions. It's moving. We run by NDAs. It moves from my wallet, Ripple's wallet, to your wallet, right? It doesn't affect the open market. And now I am putting it on the books of all these different institutions. Why am I doing that though? Right? That's like a smooth positioning that's going on, meaning all of these institutions are getting a hold of XRP. Well, what's going to happen when there is the Clarity Act and all of this other stuff that happens, right? So now let me also say this, and then I'll look again at some of the comments just to see if there's any questions. But let me build on this also, because this, I use OTC a lot. I don't know if you understand what I mean when I say OTC. Okay. And when I say, oh, the OTC and the dark pools are, the XRP is coming off the ETFs and stuff. And I talk a lot about that in reference to the supply shock, because remember, the supply shock will happen on the exchanges. Okay. So let me just answer this question. And that is why the OTC sales do not affect the price. Because what if somebody say, but wouldn't the OTC affect the price? No, it doesn't. Okay. So I want to help clear that up. And again, I always talk about the OTC dwindling with supply, and again, the dark pools dwindling with supply whenever I talk about the supply shock. So I do want to address this. And there's a very simple rule about what really moves the price of XRP and what doesn't. And I think people need to get clear on that, because they don't know what's going to move the price and what's not. I don't think people really get it. Okay. Over the counter deals. Yep. So the price moves when XRP enters or leaves a public exchange. Okay. That is it. That is it. That's where the repricing is going to happen, y'all. It's on the exchanges. Okay. That's the entire rule. And that's why, again, the idea of the reverse carry trade, the supply shock, would happen on the exchanges. It's going to happen on the exchanges because there's not enough available anywhere else. So they're going to go to the exchanges. And guess what? That demand is going to be greater than the supply there. So what happens when the demand, let's think, y'all, for a moment. What happens when the demand is overwhelming, but the supply is not there? Come on, you go into a grocery store and everybody's looking for apples. Everybody's looking for toilet tissue. Okay. COVID. Everybody's looking for toilet tissue. Okay. That's why I switched real quick to toilet tissue, because that's a real thing. I was going to use apples, but I want to go to something that really happened. Okay. And there's not enough toilet tissue left. What happened to the toilet tissue? The price went astronomical. Even something as little as toilet paper. Y'all never thought toilet paper could get that high, did y'all? That's the dynamics of any supply and demand scenario. Okay. Everybody want apples. They go into the store. More people go and they all looking for apples now. And it's only 5 apples left. Now it's only 4 apples left. Now it's only 3 apples left, but you got double people coming to get the apple. What happens to the price of the apple? The apple's price is going to go up. Okay. It's supply demand 101, right? And so this, AKA, this is why I say, please get your stuff off of the exchanges. This is what I mean by that. When I say, please, y'all, start structuring this stuff. Put them on a cold wallet. I got a link in the description to Tangent. Very easy. I'll talk about I Trust Capital in a minute. That's diversification. Okay. But when XRP gets added to the public exchange, there are more coins available for people to buy and sell. Okay. So when that's what moves the price. The supply increases on the open market. Okay. Then when XRP gets removed from public exchanges, it decreases. Okay. So even when you take your XRP off the exchanges, that is participating in this idea eventually of a supply shock, because guess what? I'm moving it off the exchanges. That makes less supply available. That contributes. That's why years ago, I knew that even without understanding XRP like fully, I knew that years ago, like in my mind, in my psyche, I'm like, let me get my stuff off the exchanges, because if it's ever in the future a supply shock, I want to be contributing to that. Okay. I don't want it on here. Right. But everything else. So I'm helping you to see where the price moves. So when we talk about OTC and Ripple, that has nothing to do with the price. It has nothing to do with the price. So everything else, every wallet to wallet transfer that happens off of the open market does not affect the price. Okay. Let me make this even more simple. If I got $5 million worth of XRP in my wallet right now, and I send it directly to your wallet, okay, does the price of XRP change? I hope y'all was listening. Class is in session here. I hope y'all was listening. If I move my 5 million to your wallet, does it affect the price? No, no, it doesn't. Okay. The XRP, that's right, Purple Rain. The XRP, that's right. It doesn't affect, because I need y'all to know what affects the price and what don't. Okay. So the XRP just transfer from storing in Wealth Simple. Yeah, the XRP, I'll get to these questions. And thank you so much. I appreciate this for the super chat. The XRP does not, okay, I'll get back to some of those. It doesn't change the price. Okay. Nothing on the open market was touched. So the price has no reason to react because nothing happened as far as the market is concerned. Nothing happened. This is not a market, situation. So that's exactly what happens every single time Ripple sells XRP to an institution. Ripple's wallet transfers directly again to the institution's wallet. It is a private transaction between two parties that never touch the public exchange. The market don't see it. The price doesn't react to it. It's pretty much invisible to the open market, okay, because it happened outside of that. Now, let's go back to the math again. Now, Ripple sold, again, over 40 billion XRP to institutions. Again, public exchanges never has held more than 4 billion at once. So that means that the overwhelming majority of XRP that Ripple has distributed to institutions has never, we can resolve this, been on a public exchange, not when it was sold, not after it was sold. It literally, again, went from wallet to wallet. Now, if institutions were dumping billions of XRP on the market, we would see it immediately, okay? We would see that in the price. The first signal, again, would be the exchange balance rising sharply because XRP would have been sent to the exchanges before it could be sold, right? And then the second signal, there will be two signals. The second signal would be the heavy selling pressure as those coins hit the market. We have not seen that pattern at the scale that people are claiming. None of that has happened. Why? Because institutions are not buying XRP to flip it. Let me let y'all know this. They are buying it because they need it for something far more significant than a short-term trade. They're not getting XRP from Ripple for a short-term trade. And here's what that tells you about where we really are. The people holding 40 billion XRP, the institutions off the market, are not retail investors who panic sell when the price drops. They are institutions that sign contracts, agree to NDAs, and structure escrow deals specifically because they have a long-term reason to hold. You don't go through that process for a quick flip, okay? You go through that process because you're building something, right? Now, I get why people feel that way, and I'm gonna tell you why I get it, because, and again, it does make logical sense. When people present it, people come on like, yeah, you're right. They do, you know what I mean? The price is dropping, and so when they see the price drop, they assume somebody must be dumping billions of tokens. But again, the crypto market, they don't work that way. And I want you to understand this, because the more you're educated about the market, the better you don't become afraid of all the volatility that runs. Okay. And when that happens, as y'all notice, when do y'all actually are y'all ever going to get people saying XRP is a scam when it's running and it's in a bull market? You're never going to hear people say, oh, XRP is a scam when it's running. You only see that when there's volatility to the downside. And now XRP is a scam. The price, like, it's manipulated, and Ripple's dumping all of their shit. And they have no idea how this even works. Okay. XRP trades in a global market that is heavily tied to Bitcoin, number one. And I always say this, it's tied to Bitcoin. What else is it tied to? Leverage. What else is it tied to? Short-term trading. These are the three things that are currently moving the price of XRP. It's coupled to Bitcoin. So if Bitcoin is manipulated, everything else gonna get manipulated. If XRP is leveraged, if Bitcoin is if there is leverage in the market, then it's going to affect the price. If there's short-term trading involved on the exchanges in the public market, the price will get affected by this. So the price movements, in essence, they often reflect the broader market dynamics, not just what Ripple or institutions are doing. And I'm just telling you guys this because I think people's brains want to find some way to sabotage themselves out of a blessing. Keep learning, please. This is why I want you to learn. Okay. This is why I'm taking my members to learn a little bit more about XLM. Because if we do get a drop, I'm telling you, it will be a win. Okay. Now, I do want you to also know that. Let me look at the comments because I'll be going on very shortly with them. So I think you guys are understanding it. Garland House bought $100 million home thanks to XRP. What if I hold my shares through Robinhood? I don't believe that is a wallet. Please let me know. You can move it from Robinhood into a cold wallet, or if you want to move it to an institutional account like I Trust Capital. Remember, I Trust Capital is a closed loop system. So you're putting if you move your XRP there, it's long term. My XRP is long term there, okay, in I Trust Capital. And let me just say this, I do believe that you should have diversity. You know what I mean? Like diversification. And if you want to watch I did an interview with them last Wednesday, and they answer a lot of questions. So I do, I want you to, there's a lot of people who are hardcore in one direction or the other. I'm not that type of person. I think there's too many different personalities, two different, psychologies to this, people's behavior and what they feel is safe and all of that. I'm not the type of person that want all my crypto off on a cold wallet. I have a lot of cold wallets, by the way. So I do want it in cold wallets, but I want a little bit of exposure somewhere else. I want a little bit in a Roth IRA. I want a little bit in a premium custody account, something that I can work with long term, get appreciation and yield off of my XRP. So everybody has their own game plan, but I believe like that, like taxes, like we just talked about taxes. So to me, tax strategies are very important. If you have the reason, let me tell you why this is so attractive to me. I'm going to tell you why something like a Roth IRA is so attractive to me. Okay. Because first of all, we are in accumulation, and this is a great time to be in accumulation. Okay. Accumulation is important, and it's so important. Why? Because of the price. Because of the price, y'all. You know what I'm saying? Like, you want the accumulation, but you also want to protect the way you're holding your XRP or your crypto, your H bar, your XLM, your quant, whatever it is. Okay. Because you don't want to wind up paying a chunk in taxes after this. So again, I believe in wise diversification to start with. And the reason why I think that a Roth IRA is a no-brainer is because a little bag will go a long way. Why? Because time is on your side in a Roth IRA. And what do we always say? Time in the market beats timing the market. If you have an account that is protected where you can't, like, you're incentivized for just letting it sit. And you just, okay, this is for that. You know what I mean? Now, it doesn't have to, you can have it for whatever you want it. Some people like, I don't need a retire. I don't want that to wait that long for retirement or whatever. It doesn't have to necessarily be a retirement. Like, this is the money I'm been waiting on to live my best life. No, I hope you got another plan other than that. I hope you're doing something else where you don't have to wait 40 years to get a Roth IRA. I don't even like that. I don't like that traditional setup. Like you tell somebody at 20 years old, start putting your money away for a Roth IRA so you can get wealthy. No, it doesn't. You can get wealthy on your journey to that Roth IRA. The Roth IRA account is just a tax-free account. Look at it like that. Okay. It doesn't have to be, I think we labeled it retirement account. No, it could be an account for your children. It could be an account for your children's children. I know people who are in their late 50s who, about to be 59 or at 59 who also are putting something in a Roth IRA because they're like, this is for my grandkids. Okay. So this is to, you gotta, if you're 59 and a half, you gotta wait 5 years, either 59 and a half or wait 5 years, whichever one comes first. But it could be for your children, your grandchildren. It could be for whatever you want. Okay. You just got a tax-free account. Okay. But the thing is, I really want you to be able to sleep better at night, knowing that you're intentional about your structure. They do also have a premium account where you can work with them. They do plan on at some point in the future, when we get the Clarity Act, there'll be a lot of fiduciary services. There'll be a lot of, financial services that are added, and you'll be able to eventually participate in yield and stuff. They're being safe. They're like, we don't want people like participating and over leveraging, and then their accounts get wiped out, because that's what happened. Billions of dollars wiped out in leverage. People, I know a guy who lost like 30,000 of his XRP because he was over leveraged, right? And so we don't want that to happen either. Okay. So they do have those two accounts, and then they also have a treasury account for LLCs. The link is in the description for that. They do give you $100 funding bonus when you open your account. But I have several accounts with them. Okay, so I do want to like mention that because I want you to be very concerned about how you're structuring things. And again, the reason why I think this is a great time is because the prices are so low. I mean, even once we double these prices and you see them at all-time highs, a lot of these technologies are 200 and 300% from all-time highs. Why do you want to wait until then to you start feeling like, oh, this is now, now because the price has doubled, I think this is a good asset and now I'm gonna get in? They so cheap. You know what I'm saying? H bar is so cheap, 10 cents at this point. Look at where their all-time highs are. Look how far below for all-time highs. To just let that sit in an account is very intelligent, if you ask me. Let me look at some of the, will XRP ever hit $100? Well, that, again, nothing I say is financial advice. Absolutely, I think it's going to hit $100 and beyond. I don't give timelines for that. We're in a situation right now, you know what I mean? Even still with oil rising, like we're in a liquidity, we're headed to a liquidity crisis, right? So that's what I'm going to even go in deeper is understanding. If you understand, the greater you understand where our economy is and how broken it is, how broken the trust is right now, the more you'll understand why there's a need for something like this. We're in a liquidity crisis. Like what XRP does, it does it very, very well. Okay. And people are coming. Somebody say, I need a quick flip. I got you. I appreciate you for being even honest on that. You know what I mean? I mean, it's hard to think like that. Because if you want a quick flip, then you should definitely learn the skill of like day trading. But it takes time, it takes effort. And this is the type of stuff that can kind of get people to lose money if you know what I'm saying, psychologically. It's not that there aren't great opportunities available, you guys. There are, but you just have to be patient. Trust me, time flies by very quick. Time flies by very, very quick. I know let me tell you what I like that. I just like that you said this. I don't know why I like this. Because I think you're being honest, and I think that's what most people feel. So I just want to say, first of all, just thanks for being honest. I don't think it's the best way to think, but I can tell you right now, the best thing you can do if you want a quick flip is, first of all, the best skill that anybody can ever have is a skill of sales, a skill of closing. All right. The best thing you can do right now is to think like an entrepreneurial. Okay. That's the best thing you can do is understand how to create value, because money follows value. And the quicker you can figure out how to solve a problem, the quicker you can get money. Okay. So if you want quick money, you got to activate something in yourself. You got to activate a skill set. You got to find a portal of problems. You got to find situations where there is a huge problem and you got to be able to solve that problem. And you got to be able to market how you're going to solve that problem, because you may have a solution, but if you don't market it well, you're not going to be still able to provide people with the solution because you don't know how to market. Right? So if the quickest way to get money is to, first of all, change how you think about money and to figure out, how can I add value? All right. How can I add value? And I'm telling you, that's one of the quickest ways, instead of like throwing money in an investment and, you know what I'm saying, being like gambling with investments. Figure out how to create, how to make money, not earn it, make it. There's a difference between earning and making. Okay. And honestly, that's the quickest way. And I think that's the way that we need to teach our kids and our grandkids, is we need to teach them now that the way the world is lining up is different from the traditional, avenues that we went down. People have to learn how to leverage AI. You know what I'm saying? Like where is you have to go in an area that people value. All right. Like where's the value being placed? So you gotta think about that. Don't push yourself into something that people don't value. Sorry. Like you can push all you want, but it's not valued there. All right. Um, Tiffany was laughing at my voice earlier. Let me look through some of the look through some of the comments. I want you guys to understand that the institutions right now, I believe they are bullish, right? Think about what it actually means for institutions to buy XRP privately off the open market and hold it. That XRP is no longer available for retail to buy. It's being held. It's moved from, again, Ripple's wallet into institutional wallets. It's sitting there waiting to be used, and it's being intended for a purpose. Now, if you multiply that, think about multiplying it. And I'm just letting you know, like, even if you're not bullish, institutions are. If you multiply that around every institutional deal that Ripple has done since like 2019, and y'all know they are very, like, what they have that other technologies don't have is the relationships. I'm sorry to tell y'all. You say what you want. Say what you want, but none of the other ones have a CEO and a team as smart as Ripple. They do not have the partnerships that Ripple have. So whatever you think is like, oh, XRP and Ripple and all of this, you're going to be shocked. You're going to be shocked. All right. They got deals, they got partnerships that they've been doing, 40 billion absorbed into institutional hands, being held. Nothing touching the exchanges, never available to retail, like to purchase on the open market. Now they'll sell back and forth to each other. That's what the dark pools are for. Okay. And a lot of the dark pools are, again, it's not, the supply has been eaten up by, ETFs. You got, big institutions like Goldman Sachs, the highest holder of XRP, ETFs. That part is not the manipulation. That is supply leaving circulation permanently, right? And then on top of that, and I did a video about this, I'll help you guys understand the OCC. I won't go into it because I did a video, but they just cleared banks to custody crypto starting April 1st. So the Clarity Act, we got that trying to move through legislation, and the entire global financial infrastructure is moving towards digital settlement rails and institutions that have been quietly accumulating XRP, because of course quietly means on OTC desks, so you don't know, and so that they don't move the price and they get better deals on OTC. I will say that. But they've been quietly accumulating XRP through private deals with Ripple. They're not doing that because they plan on dumping it when the price go up, y'all. They doing it because they're going to need it, right? If a bank needs to move value across borders in real time, they need a bridge asset sitting ready to facilitate the transaction instantly. All right. That's the bridge that they need. Right. So it's operational inventory. It's infrastructure. It's the fuel that powers the entire system. That's why they need it. I used this before. Think about an analogy of airlines. I just want you to understand this in a way that that you can understand it. That's the whole point, is just like, that's why I use a lot of these examples, because I'm trying to bridge the gap between the known and the unknown. But every if you're looking at like the way people are holding XRP or wanting to store them for operational use, and why they're quietly accumulating them, is because, like an airlines don't just buy. Think about, they have to buy jet fuel, obviously, but they're not going to buy it. They're not going to buy fuel and then they sell it back when the fuel price, when the oil price go up. They hold it because their entire operation depends on having it available when they need it. Okay. So that's the same way. Like the airlines, they need that fuel in order to fly the planes, right? Do you think, oh, the price went up today, let me dump the, no, they need the fuel. Okay. Institutions holding XRP are doing the exact same thing. They bought it for utility, not speculation. They're quietly accumulating it for that. Okay. So I don't think it's a threat. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that everything that they do is right, and I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying it's not affecting the price. So if you're trying to make an argument that, oh, how can they keep doing this? The price gonna keep being manipulated because they keep it has nothing to do with that. If it's being manipulated, it's not that. Let's come up with another argument. Let's talk about how it's coupled to Bitcoin. Okay, come on. So I just wanted you guys to understand what is going on. Let me yeah, and I keep telling people what we're dealing with now, an oil crisis, all of this is going to create a larger demand for XRP. Why? Because XRP was created for a liquidity crisis. Okay, I trust listed Ando too, and I love Ando. I'm an Ando lover. That's, that's in probably my top 10. It is in my top 10, as a matter of fact. And I think Ando will use on the back end the XRPL. I think they talked about it when they just had their Ando summit. Long and steady. You are long and steady. Yes, and I am too. Uh, your honesty will leave you broke. Yeah. Okay. Sorry. I was getting a phone call. All right. Is it true that exchanges keep people's crypto on cold wallets of their own? No, the exchanges keep your crypto on their books. So it's when you have your cold wallet, you own the keys. If you have your crypto on the exchanges, they own the keys. So you don't own it. It's on their books and they owe you your crypto. Like you don't own it at all. And it's in the fine printing. So if something happens, if anything collapses, if something frees up, like whatever they want to do with it, they can do because they own it and you don't. So yeah, you might want to do. Yeah, iTrust has a premium custody and a Roth crypto IRA account. Oh, I'm sorry. You were talking to somebody, but yeah, I have the link in the description and it does provide $100 funding bonus for you. Once you fund the account, you should get it within like 30 days and then you can take that money and invest it in crypto. And I'm telling y'all, a little bit can go a long way. A little can go a long way. What I can't wait till I come back. I'm going to reference this. I can't wait till I come back and show you the math. Because y'all know I love the math, right? Okay. I love quantitative reasoning. Okay. And I can't wait to show you what $100 have done in the future for something like XRP. I can't wait to show you. Like if you would have just put $100 aside for every or like this for every $100, this is how much. I cannot wait. Oh, I cannot wait. Although part of me just I know some of y'all want things to just pop. I'm so happy it hasn't because so many people would have missed out. Some of y'all need time to accumulate because y'all don't have the funds to just throw everything in all at once, right? And most people don't want to do that because it's kind of risky, right? So we've had extra time to be able to accumulate, even with thinking that we were in a bull run 2025. I love the fact that there's been extra time because a lot of you all really need to amp your game up on your position. I don't know what else to tell you, but there's people that's working extra hours. They're selling stuff. They're selling like stuff that they don't need, whether it's gym shoes and jewelry and technology. You know what I mean? Like their collections and stuff that they absolutely love. They're like, I'll sell this collection and then I'm gonna get enough money and I'll buy it back and some, right? They're working extra jobs. They're doing Uber driving, even though they have enough money, they, to make ends meet. They just want extra money to put away in investments because the way some people are looking at this is pretty much, this is your final chance for generational wealth. You got to understand. So I'm under the impression that 2027 probably not going to be a good year for a lot of people because of the inflation. And I'm going to talk about, again, I'm going with my members to explain to them how money works because of the structure of debt. People, I say this stuff, but I don't think people really understand what's happening with money, okay, and currency, right? I don't think they understand. We are First of all, commodities have been suppressed for quite some time. And I think even if they pull back, these are great buying opportunities. DCA. These assets are all in a global reset. All of these assets are going to get repriced, y'all. They're going to keep printing money. They are. Okay. They are. They're going to keep printing money. Debt is structured in our entire ecosystem. All right. It's there. What do you think that's going to do to the dollar? What do you think that's going to do to inflation? It's going to be harder and harder to catch up. They're talking about a lot of people are going to lose jobs between now and 2030. A large percentage of people, lawyers, good people who make good money, lawyers are not going to make as much money anymore. White collar jobs are going to get smashed. AI is replacing that. AI going to be your lawyer, your doctor. They already doing surgery on people. All right. They got little machines and stuff. You will probably make more money than the surgeon who knows how to perform surgery better than you do if you know how to operate the machine better than the surgeon. Okay. So I'm just saying there's going to be a lot of opportunity for people to have skill sets that can provide income, but a lot of other jobs are going to get wiped away. It's going to be bittersweet. And a lot of people just know, like, I need to set myself up because y'all don't understand. Like, y'all, it's going to be people living with you. It's going to be whole families have to move in together. They're not going to have enough money to survive the inflation. They're going to have to move in together. And honestly, wealthy people are going to have to give. I hope they do have. I hope anybody who's making money during this time, by investing, I hope that they have the heart of God. Okay, like a strong giver, because people are going to need it. People are going to suffer. People are going to need it. Churches and communities are going to have to come together to feed people. It's not going to be good. I don't know what y'all thinking about. It's not going to be good. People are going, the middle class is about being X'd out. You're not going to be able to keep up. It's not going to be good. If you are not really 100% hyper focused in investing in the next infrastructure, you're gonna be in trouble. That's all I can tell you. So yeah, I am. Thank you so much. Hey Percy, what's going on? Hey Camila, just open iTrust account. Thank you. Absolutely. I love to see it. And I love to see you guys taking little action, step by step, just a little here, just a little there. Listen, I've been doing the same thing every single day. I'm working on it because it's so much to do. It's so much to get set up. It's so much to organize, right? If you're waiting on the back end of this, you're going to be behind schedule. Yeah. And I mean, I definitely, you know what I mean? The institutional backing. The thing is, XRP is they're not like night and day. I've done videos on this. Bitcoin is not it's considered a store of a digital store of value. That's what they say. But it's a utility coin, so it's not even. I think XRP is going to eventually surpass Ethereum. I think it'll be number 2 in market cap. I know y'all think I'm crazy. Yeah, I like XLM. I'm going to talk about that as well. And I'm going to go into, I'm just making sure I don't have any more super chats. And I hope you guys are participating. Okay. I know y'all waiting on drops and all of this other stuff, and that's fine. I hope we all get one. I keep saying, I think a pullback will come, but, I just watched your video on life insurance. You need to follow up video. Okay. I'll talk some more about that as well. George is giving a warning. All right, warning y'all. Many jobs will be lost that won't come back. They will implement UBI, universal basic income. Yep, for everyone. But don't put yourselves in a bad position where you have to need it. Yeah, it's going to be bad. I don't know. I'm telling y'all, it is going to be bad for a lot of people. I do it with a smile on my face, so maybe y'all don't think I'm being super serious, but I am serious. Like, when I tell you it's going to be bad, it's going to be bad. People are going to be suffering, homeless, having to find somewhere to stay, having to find shelter, having to find things to eat. Like, it's going to be bad. Not able to find. There's a person now that said they don't put in 400 job applications, cannot get a job. People are going to be scrambling. They're not going to have any money, no assets, no nothing. Like, what, you know what I'm saying? Like, and then all of these assets being repriced, they're going to get farther and farther and farther. So people sitting here crying about the price. Are you kidding me? This is a blessing. You just got to see it, right? People, the price is down. XRP is down. You got to be kidding me. This is easy, but then it's hard at the same time. Why? Because some people don't have this right here. They don't have the mindset. Okay. And this is all about mindset. And I feel bad for people because it's not going to be good, right? But our community is going to thrive, right? That's what we're going to do. Why? Because we're going to get educated, and education is where it's at. Education is what's going to help you to hold the conviction. All right. Also, if you want help building a personal strategy with real structure, real accountability, make sure you do join my coaching community. Inside the program, we're going to help you to understand market opportunities. We're going to turn it into an actual plan for you, your allocation, your custody structure, your positioning framework, and the mindset required to become an intentional, unshakable investor, right? Because you want to be able to secure your financial freedom, right? So if that level of support will help you, I'm laughing at you guys. Yes, this is how people sound to me. But if that helps you, the link is in the description. Also, like the video, subscribe, and send it to somebody else. If that level of support, is going to help guide you. Also, I got my one-on-ones available as well. Again, those links are in the description. Give me a few minutes for my members because I am going to go ahead and join in a moment. And if this video gave you clarity, again, like it, subscribe if you haven't, share it with somebody who maybe in your circle, they might be angry at Ripple, confused about what's really happening, because they may need to hear this, before the next wave of misinformation comes through, because that's what it's always going to be, is misinformation, especially if you're reading all the headlines. So I'll be on with my members. And as always, I want you to stay wise, stay wealthy, and I'll see you in the next video.